Over the last 8 months, I've designed, built, and redesigned and rebuilt this 3D printed UAV. It's not the prettiest, but one thing it does better than any other 3D printed UAV I've seen is take off from rough runways. In this video, I'll go through the lessons I learned during this time, what I would change if I went back and did it again, and what worked well to begin with. If you want to see the entire design, build, and test flights, I made a playlist here. Now, one thing I would change is the infill pattern. That's the pattern the plastic is inside. After watching and reading some information on how the infill pattern affects a print strength, I chose to use a grid pattern. Surprisingly, that's because a grid pattern is better for overall strength than many other patterns. But I found that the idea of strength is usually discussed in a general way and not for this specific application. What I mean by that is, printing in a grid pattern might be good for overall strength, but one way that it's worse is the strength of the skin. That's how difficult it is to break the wall of the print. I've found that a grid pattern is good for general loading, but for the same infill percentage, something like a 3D printed honeycomb actually distributes the inner plastic better. So the outer layer is more uniformly supported. That gives a better finish, but also makes the skin more impervious to piercing. So while I might be trading some overall strength, I'm gaining more skin strength, and that to me is a good trade-off because I found that the skin strength was one of the weak links. But one thing I think was good was printing it in regular PLA. At first, I chose good old-fashioned PLA because it was readily available, and I wanted anyone to be able to print it. I also chose it because it's one of the least toxic plastics to print. But the more I worked with it, the more I liked it, particularly compared to the more commonly used lightweight PLA in the 3D printed UAV world. This lightweight PLA results in the exact same print being about half the weight, pretty good. But me personally, I don't think it's a good idea for another reason. That's because if you calculate the strength-weight ratio of regular PLA compared to this lightweight PLA, regular PLA is actually much better. So when you're using lightweight PLA, all that's really happening is that you're reducing the strength more than you're reducing the weight. It really doesn't make sense to me, especially when you have selling points like strong enough. That brings me to the next thing I would change if I were to design and build this again, something that could actually improve its performance. That is, I'd use a smaller nozzle. The nozzle I used was 0.4mm, it's standard. But what I would like to do is try a 0.2mm nozzle instead. That would allow me to print thinner walls, reduce weight, but not lose as much strength as printing with lightweight PLA with a 0.4mm nozzle. So theoretically, with a 0.2mm nozzle, I should have a higher strength-weight ratio than lightweight PLA prints, but still be lighter than the regular 0.4mm PLA prints. The reason why I didn't use 0.2mm to begin with is because that nozzle size is kind of just becoming mainstream now, so the settings required to get great prints still being figured out. Maybe in another year or so. But I think the way I did it still worked out well because of just how durable the plane is. I mean, it withstood a lot of stress from all the vibrations over terrible runways, to flying into bushes, to even minor crashes. That impressed me. And the thrust weight ratio was okay. I used a regular motor still and only a 4S LiHov battery. Definitely not the biggest bad boy you can get, and I still got enough thrust. The only thing that was a little odd was the prop size maybe. A common prop size is 7 to 8 inches. To get enough thrust, I went for 10 inches, and that created a little bit of a problem. Because the prop was bigger, it moved the tips closer to the ground. That made them more likely to hit the ground and explode, and even break the front of the fuselage too sometimes. Perhaps moving to a higher S battery like a 6S would be better, because that would then increase the amount of thrust you'd get from a smaller prop, like an 8-inch prop might be enough now. But the reason I didn't do that was because the bigger the battery, the more of a potential safety hazard it poses in a crash. So I wanted to keep the battery as small as possible. Another potential fix for moving the prop further away from the ground would be to make the wheel supports longer. But doing that would make the plane less stable on the runway, and also less stable in the air because the forces on the wheels would produce greater moments around the plane's center of gravity. So I think overall, moving the prop tips away from the ground more would be a good idea, but this was the best solution I had so far. Maybe also using a tri-blade prop would be better, and that would reduce the prop diameters. That's something to test in the future. If you have any other ideas, let me know below. Also, because the prop is so big, that also made putting it at the front the best place because of how high off the ground it is. Putting it in a pusher configuration, for example, so behind the wings, would greatly reduce the ground clearance of the props. If you'd like to learn how to design and build your very own UAVs, I teach a course on it here. That brings me to the pro tip I wanted to share with you and emphasize because you don't often find this next tip in textbooks. So when calculating the pitching moment coefficient, you usually calculate the masses around the airplane and the lift produced, and then you see the moments that come out. If you mount the motor so that the thrust produced is below or above the CG, that will produce a pitching moment. If you don't factor that into your equation, then your plane may not be statically stable under any flying conditions. But it's worse than that, because let's say you still make your plane statically stable. Well, the thing is that the amount of thrust you produce changes throughout a flight. So the pitching moment will change as you change the thrust produced. That makes the plane much harder to control. The way to fix this is by mounting the motor so the thrust produced is in line with the CG. That makes the moment arm reduced to 0, so no pitching moment is produced anymore. Now, one thing that I was quite impressed with is that for this project, I used pretty cheap electronics. For example, I used this FlySky radio. I have other radios like the Radio Master Boxer and the Radio Master Pocket, which are also good, but honestly, the FlySky is a great radio for the price, as well as all the other electronics I used. They might have been cheap, but they did everything I needed them to do and more. And they survived a lot of crashes too. So honestly, for the average flyer, cheap stuff is fine in my opinion. Now, one thing that I got a little criticism over was that for the horizontal stabilizer, I used a cambered Airfoil profile. The reason why I used that instead of a symmetrical one is because by using a cambered one, you can achieve a statically stable config by default. If you use a symmetrical airfoil, you either need to angle it down or deflect the elevator to achieve the same result. That typically results in more drag. So by using a cambered airfoil profile, you can achieve a more stable plane by default and with less drag. A symmetrical profile would be simpler, but a cambered one offers greater benefits, and many airliners use cambered ones too. If you'd like to learn CFD, and in particular OpenFoam, I teach courses on them here. Now the final thing I would change is the runway. There's no doubt about it, this runway caused the vast majority of crashes. This UAV actually flew on regular tarmac from the very start, but the modifications I made over the following months were to tackle runways like this. That made this plane capable of taking off from pretty much anything. But one thing that still gets in the way is you need a runway still. If I were to make this plane again, I'd make a VTOL. Peace out, amigos.